It's December 1936. Deep in the forests of northeastern Germany, a convoy of black Mercedes limousines winds through snow-covered roads toward a medieval fortress. Inside Wewelsburg Castle, 12 men in SS uniforms descend stone steps into a crypt that's been redesigned according to very specific, very disturbing instructions. The room is circular, perfectly circular, and carved into the floor is a symbol that shouldn't exist, a 12-spoked wheel radiating dark purple light they call the Black Sun. These aren't just military officers, they're initiates, members of what Heinrich Himmler envisions as a new knightly order, an order that believes it can tap into ancient powers, powers that will help them build something the world has never seen, a 1,000-year Reich. But here's what almost no one knew then, and what most people still don't fully understand today. The Nazi regime wasn't just driven by political ideology or military ambition. At its core, in the minds of its most powerful leaders, it was a spiritual mission, an occult operation, and the fingerprints of secret societies, groups like the Thule Society and the Vril Society, are all over its creation. This is the story of how mysticism, astrology, ancient rituals, and dark brotherhoods didn't just influence Nazi Germany. In many ways, they built it, and the evidence, the castles, the documents, the testimonies, it's all still there, waiting to tell a story that sounds too strange to be true, but it is true, and it's darker than you think. What if one of history's darkest regimes wasn't just political, but powered by something ancient? Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because what you're about to hear will change the way you understand history. 1. Munich, 1918, the birth of something evil. Let's start in Munich. November 1918. World War I has just ended, Germany has lost, the Kaiser has abdicated, the economy is in ruins, and in the chaos, the absolute chaos, of post-war Germany, something starts to take shape in the shadows, a secret society. They call themselves the Thule Society, named after a mythical frozen land at the edge of the world, a land they believe was the original home of the Aryan race. The meetings happen at the Four Seasons Hotel, upscale, private, and the members, these aren't street thugs, these are Munich's elite, judges, professors, industrialists, about 12 of them at a time, and they're obsessed with the idea that Germany's defeat wasn't military, it was spiritual, a betrayal. The man who founded Thule, Rudolf von Sebottendorf, an occultist, a believer in astrology, runes, ancient Germanic magic. But here's what makes this terrifying. Sebottendorf isn't just playing with tarot cards, he's recruiting, building a network, and among his members are men whose names you'll recognize. Dietrich Eckart, a failed playwright, brilliant, charismatic, and deeply anti-Semitic. He's the one who's going to discover a young war veteran, a nobody, an Austrian corporal with a strange magnetic presence. His name is Adolf Hitler. Eckart becomes Hitler's mentor, his teacher. He doesn't just introduce Hitler to Munich's political circles, he trains him, teaches him how to speak, how to mesmerize crowds, how to weaponize mythology and symbols, and Eckart he actually tells people, follow Hitler. He will dance, but it is I who have called the tune. Then there's Alfred Rosenberg, Baltic German intellectual, obsessed with racial theory. He's going to write The Myth of the 20th Century, the Nazi Party's ideological Bible, and Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy, the man who will one day fly solo to Scotland in 1941 on a mission so bizarre that historians still can't fully explain it. All of them. Thule Society members or connected to it, and they all share the same core belief that the Aryan race is descended from an ancient, advanced civilization, that their blood is sacred, that they are destined to rule. But the Thule Society isn't the only group. There's another one, even more secretive, even stranger, the Vril Society, named after a novel, a 19th century science fiction book by Edward Bulwer Lytton called The Coming Race. In the book, there's an underground civilization, advanced, powerful. They have access to an energy source called Vril, a force that can destroy or create. And here's where it gets weird. Because the Vril Society doesn't treat this like fiction. They believe it's real. They believe Vril exists, and they believe they can access it. How? Through mediums. Women with long hair, they think the hair acts like antennas. Receiving signals from where? Some say ancient civilizations living underground, others say extraterrestrials, specifically from a star system called Aldebaran, 68 light-years away. In December 1919, a meeting happens deep in the Bavarian forest. Representatives from multiple secret societies are there, Thule, Vril, the Black Sun, and they conduct a séance. A woman named Maria Orsic, young, beautiful, long blonde hair, goes into a trance and she starts writing. Two languages, one looks like ancient Sumerian, the other a Germanic Templar script, and she claims that she's receiving messages, technical messages, blueprints for a machine, a flying machine powered by Vril energy. The Nazis take this seriously, deadly seriously, because by the 1930s, there are reports, credible reports, of Germany developing unconventional aircraft, disc-shaped, spiral designs, and during World War II, Allied pilots start seeing them. They call them Foo Fighters, balls of light, following planes, moving erratically, impossibly fast. The Allies think it's German technology, advanced technology. After the war, when the Allies capture German facilities, they find prototypes, plans, evidence of something. Were they building UFOs? Did they succeed? We don't fully know because much of it was destroyed on purpose. As the Third Reich collapsed, orders went out, burn the documents, blow up the facilities, hide the evidence. 2. Wewelsburg Castle, Himmler's occult fortress. Let's talk about Heinrich Himmler, Reichsführer SS. The man in charge of the SS, the architect of the Holocaust. But here's what most people don't know. Himmler was obsessed with the occult, not casually, obsessed. In 1934, he takes over a castle, Wewelsburg, in northeastern Germany. It's medieval, triangular, and Himmler decides this is going to be the spiritual center of the SS, the headquarters of his new order, his Black Knights. He spends millions renovating it, using slave labor from concentration camps, and he designs it according to his vision, a vision rooted in mysticism, paganism, and ritual. The North Tower is the most important part. That's where the initiation chamber is. A round room, 12 pillars, 12 stone pedestals along the walls, one for each of Himmler's top SS generals. 12, like the Knights of the Round Table. This is where they meditate, where they hold ceremonies in total silence. And on the floor, embedded in the stone, is the Black Sun, a 12-spoked wheel, dark, radiating purple light. The Black Sun represents a hidden source of power from within the earth, from the hollow earth, because Himmler and others in the SS believe the earth is hollow, that there's an entire civilization inside, the original Aryans, waiting, watching. Below the main chamber, there's a crypt. Himmler designs it himself, dome-shaped, 12 alcoves carved into the walls, and the plan is to cremate high-ranking SS officers here when they die, to place their ashes in urns in those alcoves, so even in death they remain part of the order. There's testimony from an SS officer who accidentally walked into one of the ritual rooms. He described it like this: 12 men, sitting in a circle in complete silence, deep meditation. He backed out, never spoke of it again, until after the war. What were they doing? We don't fully know, but we know they believed they were tapping into something, ancient power, Aryan magic. Himmler also founded the Ahnenerbe, the Ancestral Heritage Society, created in 1935. Its official purpose, archaeological research. Its real purpose, to prove Nazi racial theories. They sent expeditions everywhere, Tibet, Ethiopia, South America, searching for lost civilizations, for relics, for proof. In Tibet, they measured skulls, took blood samples, tried to establish a connection between Tibetan Buddhism and Aryanism. And they weren't just looking for knowledge, they were looking for objects, sacred objects, the Spear of Longinus, the Holy Grail, the Ark of the Covenant. Himmler wanted them all. He genuinely believed, that possessing these relics would grant Germany supernatural victory. There's evidence that Nazis investigated sites in England, including Royston Cave, a mysterious underground chamber carved with Templar symbols. Himmler believed the Templars had hidden the Grail there, or the Ark, and as the war turned against Germany, as the Allies closed in, Himmler gave orders: blow up Wewelsburg, destroy it. He didn't want the Allies to see what was inside, but the demolition team didn't have enough explosives. The castle survived, damaged, but standing, and today you can still go there. You can stand in that circular chamber, see the Black Sun in the floor. 3. Astrology, prophecy, and dark programs. Here's something that sounds too bizarre to be real. Adolf Hitler had astrologers. Multiple astrologers, not openly, but they were there, consulting charts, reading stars. And it wasn't just Hitler. Himmler consulted astrologers regularly, so did Rudolf Hess. Even Goebbels used astrology in his propaganda campaigns. Erich Johannessen was one of Hitler's astrologers, a showman, Jewish, ironically, though he hid it. Hannesen predicted the Reichstag fire days before it happened. Some historians think he had inside knowledge, that the Nazis told him their plans. In 1933, he was murdered by the SA. On someone's orders, the Nazi propaganda machine published astrological predictions, showing that Germany's destiny was written in the stars. That victory was inevitable. They also used astrology against their enemies, planting fake prophecies, predicting Britain's collapse, Churchill's death, psychological warfare. Then in 1941, something happened. Rudolf Hess, Hitler's deputy, flew solo to Scotland. On May 10th, in the middle of the war, he parachuted out, asked to speak to the Duke of Hamilton. Why? Historians found evidence that Hess consulted astrologers before the flight, that they told him the stars were aligned for a peace mission, that he believed it was his destiny to end the war. Hitler was furious. Within days, he ordered a crackdown on astrologers, on occultists, hundreds arrested. But even after the occult influence didn't stop, it went underground. Himmler kept his astrologers, his runologists, his pagan priests. If you thought that was disturbing, listen to this. The Lebensborn program. Established in 1935, run by the SS, its official purpose? To increase Germany's birth rate. Its real purpose? Genetic engineering, creating racially pure Aryan children. Unmarried women, blonde, blue-eyed, meeting strict racial criteria, were encouraged to get pregnant. By SS officers, they went to special homes, gave birth in secret, because they were doing their duty. For the fatherland. Gisela Heidenreich was born in a Lebensborn home. She says, "We weren't just babies. We were a program, an experiment." But it gets worse. The program stole children, thousands of them, from Poland, Norway, occupied territories. If a child looked Aryan, they were taken, kidnapped, brought to Germany, and Germanized, raised by Nazi families. Estimates suggest 200,000 children were stolen. Most were never reunited with their families because records were destroyed, names changed. Himmler believed that within a generation, Germany could create a genetically pure master race. And he believed this wasn't just biology, it was spiritual, that Aryan blood carried something divine. This wasn't fringe thinking, this was official SS ideology, and it was rooted in the same occult beliefs. The idea that the Aryan race descended from Atlantis, or from the stars, that they were destined to rule, and so the Holocaust wasn't just genocide. In their minds, it was purification, a spiritual mission. 4. The desperate hunt for sacred power. Let's talk about the relic hunts, because this is where Nazi occultism crosses into obsession. Himmler believed that certain objects, ancient sacred objects, held actual power, not symbolic, real power. The Spear of Longinus, the spear that pierced Christ on the cross. Hitler took it from Vienna in 1938, kept it in Nuremberg. He believed it made emperors invincible, that whoever possessed it could not be defeated in battle. Until 1945, when American forces captured Nuremberg, and within hours of the spear falling into Allied hands, Hitler died. Coincidence? Maybe, but the Nazis didn't believe in coincidences. Then there's the Holy Grail. Himmler was obsessed. He sent teams across Europe searching for it. Montségur in France, Rosslyn Chapel in Scotland. He believed the Templars had found it, hidden it. There's documented evidence that Nazis investigated Royston Cave in England, a small underground chamber covered in Templar carvings. Himmler thought the Grail had been stored there, and the Ark of the Covenant. They sent expeditions to Ethiopia, to the Middle East, searching for any trace. This isn't Hollywood fiction. This is documented. The Ahnenerbe kept records, budgets, reports. They spent fortunes on these hunts. Why? Because Himmler believed. And when Himmler believed, the SS acted. As the war turned against Germany, the obsession grew, more desperate, more frantic. If they could just find the right relic, the right power, they could still win, but they didn't. And as the Allies closed in, orders went out: destroy everything, blow up the castles, burn the documents, don't let them see what we were doing. Most of it was destroyed, but not all of it. Here's what we know. The Nazi regime was built in part on a foundation of occult beliefs. Secret societies like Thule and Vril didn't just influence the party, they helped create it. Key figures, Eckhart, Himmler, Hess, Rosenberg, were all connected to these groups, and their beliefs about Aryan superiority, ancient civilizations, cosmic destiny, these became policy. Wewelsburg Castle still stands. The Black Sun is still on the floor, you can visit it. Stand where Himmler's inner circle meditated. The Lebensborn program happened. Children were bred like livestock, stolen from families. The relic hunts happened. Millions spent searching for the Grail. The Ark. The spear. And yes, there's evidence they experimented with unconventional aircraft, with Vril energy, with technology that looked like UFOs. Did it work? We don't fully know because they destroyed most of it. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter whether the occult beliefs were true, what matters is that they believed them. And that belief justified everything. The Holocaust, the war, the atrocities. In their minds, they weren't committing evil, they were fulfilling destiny. The Nazis lost. Their 1,000-year Reich lasted 12 years. Wewelsburg wasn't destroyed completely. The relics didn't save them, but the damage they did was real. 6 million Jews murdered, millions more dead, a world shattered, and at the center of it all, men in a castle, meditating around a symbol, believing they were gods. What do you think? Were the Nazis true believers? Or was the occult just propaganda? Drop your theory in the comments. If you've made it this far, you're not just curious, you're a seeker. So here's what to do next. Hit subscribe right now to join the Untold archives because these stories are just beginning. Drop your theory in the comments. If the Nazi leadership genuinely believed in occult powers and ancient Aryan magic, what would have happened if they'd actually found what they were looking for? I'll feature the best answers in a future video and share this video with someone who still thinks the Nazis were just a political movement, because the truth is so much stranger and darker than that.